Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Nicole and this is Let Knit Be Sew. I'm here today with a video all about my favourite jersey sewing patterns. If you've been watching this channel for a little bit, it may come as no surprise to you to know that I really love sewing with jersey. It didn't start off that way. I think the game changer for me in terms of jersey sewing was when I got my overlocker, because my very first sewing machine that I had when I was learning to sew, it was, you know, a pretty basic machine, and it also didn't really love doing zigzag stitch, which when you don't have an overlocker is a little bit of an issue for sewing with stretch fabrics. So yeah, I definitely feel like getting the overlocker was the real game changer, and being able to sew jersey patterns confidently and also quickly, which is, you know, another part of the appeal. They are generally, particularly things like t-shirts and tops, they're generally pretty quick makes nowadays, especially when you've, you know, got, like I have, a selection of patterns that you know fit you, and you know, like, you know, you don't really have to pay much attention to the instructions anymore because you've made them so many times. So yeah, they can be a really quick, satisfying make to get off of your sewing machine, yeah, for a little bit of instant gratification. I think they also have that versatility of, you can have like the same pattern and it can look quite different depending on what type of fabric you use, whether you use a more structured jersey like cotton jersey, or whether it's something more drapey like a viscose or a bamboo, something like that. And different ones lend themselves better to different patterns. Some work for both, but some of them will lean towards one or the other. And also, you know, you can either pick, you know, a print like what I'm wearing today, or, you know, you can use a plain coloured fabric, or you can even, a lot of jersey patterns will also lend themselves quite nicely to colour blocking, so you might be able to mix and match. I've got some examples in my big pile of jersey projects to show you for this video, but yeah, I think they're really versatile patterns. So yeah, I'm just going to talk to you about some of my favourites. This is not an exhaustive list of the ones that I have made and that I own, but these are the ones that I have either made a lot of, or just think there's something a little bit extra about them which makes them a fun project. So yeah, let's kick things off. So we'll start off with the pattern that I am wearing, which is the Jennifer Lauren handmade gable top. So I'm wearing it, so I've got this, I believe it's a cotton jersey. I'm not entirely sure where I got it from because it is from a while back, but yeah, it's sort of like a lilac-y blue colour with these kind of, it sort of looks like mini leopard print, but I think it was called like circles or something. But yeah, it's kind of, I would say it's a leopard print. But yeah, so this is the Jennifer Lauren handmade gable top. I'm wearing it layered under my pinafore dress, my Pippi pinafore, which is another thing that I really like to do with jersey tops in the autumn and winter. I think, you know, they're great worn like just with jeans or trousers or a skirt, but also I like to have particularly long sleeves, so this is the long sleeve version. You know, I like to have them to layer. So the gable top has 3 different versions. So you can have the long sleeve version like I have, so this is fully, yeah, that's fully to my wrist. There's also a short sleeve version which is sort of like, you know, about here, and there's also a version that is long sleeved, but you've got like a really wide cuff, like I think, you know, probably, you know, about here is where like the cuff piece starts. So I think you end up with like the same sleeve length as with the full long sleeve in one piece, but it's got like a cuff, so colour blocking opportunities for that one. And yeah, the main feature is this slash neck or boat neck, really high neckline that the pattern tells you how to sort of modify it. So you have a little bit of leeway in the pattern in terms of how high you want it to come up. You can do some you know, manipulating of the fabric to make it come down a bit lower if you are not super keen or something really high up on you. So in terms of sizing, it comes in a size 6 to 34, and also Jennifer Lauren Handmade does like cup sizes, so it's cup sizes A to F. So that makes it a bit tricky for me to tell you all of the parameters in terms of the size range. I've just picked the bust measurements just to give you an idea. I will link all of these patterns in the description box so you can have a proper look at the sizing and all the different measurements that it encompasses. I've had this pattern for a long time, so I suspect mine is it doesn't have the same sizing as what the pattern has now. She's got two different blocks, so she has an original, what they call an original block, and then she has a curved block, so these kind of go across those two sizes. But just to give you an idea, the high bust of the size 6 is 29 and 1/8 of an inch, and the high bust for the size 34 is 56 and 3/4 inches. But like I say, that is the high bust. There's then obviously, like I said, cups A to F, so there'll be a fair bit more added on if you get towards the bigger cup sizes. So I think it's a pretty size inclusive pattern. Like I say, I don't think I've had this for a pretty long time. I don't think that was how it was originally issued, but it's good that yeah, there's now increased sizing for it. So like I say, this is my version that I'm wearing. You also recognize this. I showed this in relatively recently on the channel. Another print one in this gorgeous pink neon peony print Danish design fabric that I got from Lamazi. Again, this is the long sleeve version, and yeah, another great layering piece. I would say in terms of like fit, this is a very, I think you can probably tell just from how I'm sitting here, like it's a very form-fitting t-shirt. Like if you want something that's a bit more relaxed, this probably isn't, it's definitely not how the pattern is designed. It is designed to be a form-fitting top. I would also say as well, it's quite long in the body, which I don't mind. I am 5'3", so I'm not particularly tall, but I do have, in proportional terms, a longer torso in comparison to my leg length. So I don't mind. This comes down, the one I'm wearing comes down to like just below my hip, so it is quite long. But like I say, I don't mind when I'm layering it under something like this. I quite like that it's longer, because then I know it's definitely not going to start, peeking out of the side of my pinafore. But if you are wanting to wear it tucked into trousers or something, then maybe you might want to shorten it a bit if you are not particularly tall or particularly long-bodied. I'm not sure what height Jennifer's patterns are drafted for, but yeah, I would say in comparison to some of the jersey tops I have made, the body is pretty long. But yeah, I really love it. It's I managed to get both of these out of just a meter of fabric, which isn't what the pattern says, and I think that's purely just because I don't think I followed the cutting layout, and also I had non-directional prints each time, so I wasn't having to worry about that. I think if you had a directional print, you probably have to do what the pattern says, which I think is 1.5 meters for the longer sleeve options. But yeah, I don't think I've ever made the short sleeve version. I don't know why. I just feel like I like it best in the long sleeve. I don't know how I would feel about something being high up here but only having a really short sleeve. But you never know. But yeah, that is my first favourite jersey pattern, the Jennifer Lauren Handmade gable top. Okay, the next pattern on my list is the Iris Tee, which is by Forget Me Not Patterns. And there's a couple of different options for this. I mean, most of the patterns that I am sharing today have different sleeve options, different neck options, or different hem options. So I feel like there's quite a lot of versatility and mix and match in terms of playing with the different options that you have for some of the design features. So the Iris Tee, which when I was pulling things out of my wardrobe today, I noticed that of everything, I feel like the Iris Tees are maybe the ones that have been in there the longest. Like this one that I've got to show you the short sleeve version. It's looking a bit faded. So yeah, I think if I, when I next come by some cotton jersey, which will invariably be soon because I love to make jersey tops, I think an iris tee is what needs to be next in my rotation of adding them to my wardrobe. So yeah, so this is the short sleeve version with the pleats. I'm gonna hold it closer so you can see. So you've got these pleats here, which give the sleeve just a little bit of shape. Obviously I've done this in a print, so you see less of the pleat structure in comparison to a plain, but I don't mind that. I still think it gives a nice little a tiny little puff, like nothing particularly dramatic, but yeah, a nice little feature. And also I think sometimes when I'm sewing a jersey top, I just want something super quick, basic, a palette cleanser, what have you, and that's fine. But I think having this gives you just a little bit of something to think about when you're putting that pattern piece together. The instructions are very clear in terms of what you do to create that pleat, but yeah, it's just a little extra something rather than it being a plain t-shirt. It does come with the option to have plain sleeves, so there is a short sleeve that is plain, as well as this pleat. But yeah, it's got what they're calling like a crew neck. They do have an expansion which works for a couple of her patterns, to give a more scooped out neck. So there is that option, but it's not with the pattern as standard. So this is the short one. And then I have also made the 3/4 length. So I've made this one in a plain, and it has this pleat to the sleeves, which isn't the same pleat as the one I just showed you. It is a different pleat, so it kind of gives this like little, what's called a little like pocket there in the fabric. But yeah, this is a long sleeve, well no, 3/4 length sleeve, sorry. But yeah, it has the pleat, and again you do also get the pattern option to have this length of sleeve but without that pleat as well. So yeah, and yeah, I like it in both pattern and plain. I've got 2 plain ones, but I didn't think you needed to see both of them. I've got a sort of burgundy maroon colour one as well. But yeah, I would say this is more of like a standard body length in comparison to, oh, it's sort of flipped up there. Hasn't been fully ironed clearly before it went back into my wardrobe. Yeah, I would call this a more like standard length, so no issues if you want to like tuck it in. Obviously if you're like super tall, maybe you would need to add stuff, but again, I'm not sure what the height is that their patterns are drafted for. But yeah, that's the longer sleeved version. So in terms of sizing, this comes in a size 28 to 56, and again I've just picked the bust measurement to give you an idea. The size 28 has a bust of 27.5 inches, and the size 56 has a bust of 55.5 inches. So again, a reasonable size range. Again, I would say that is a pretty form-fitting t-shirt. Maybe a little bit more relaxed than this, but it's certainly not meant to be a loose or oversized fit. So just to give you an idea there. But yeah, I really love the iris tee. Like I say, I definitely have worn the ones that I have in my wardrobe very much. They're very much loved, which obviously means that now they're all looking a bit on the faded side, particularly the short sleeve ones. I think I wore them a lot in the summer. So yes, you will probably see some iris tees in the not too distant future from me. The next pattern is the Linden sweatshirt from Grainline Studio, which is a very old pattern, like it has been around a long time. And the Linden is a very basic raglan sleeve sweatshirt. There's only just 2 options in this, so you can either have the full like long sleeve with cuffs, or there's like a short sleeved version that doesn't have any cuffs, but that's kind of it. Like, it is a very, very basic pattern. And yeah, I love to make this in, I think all of the versions that I have been colour blocked. So I've got this version, which I've got this like, so this is all in like French terry, and so I've got this lovely like speckledy cream. I wish I had more of this fabric because it's so pretty with these like little pops of neon. Yeah, that cream French terry for the sleeves, and then I had this sort of very pastel-y floral French terry for the body. I've done the neckband, so you can obviously do the neckbands and cuffs in a ribbing fabric if you have that, but I chose to do mine. So you can see my sleeve cuff is in the floral jersey, and so is my hem. But yeah, it just works. The raglan sleeves just, you know, just really, I really like that look of the colour block, with particularly with like a plain and then a print. And this is a very, very, very much loved one, which I did in some grey French terry, and then it's got this gorgeous leopard tropical print for the main body, and it's the same on the back as well. So yeah, I really love this. Like, it's, yeah, such a straightforward pattern, like super easy to sew up, like, yeah, really, really quick. And I like how it fits. I do actually really want to try lengthening it to see if I can make a you know, sweater dress out of it, because I like this. I like how it fits me. You know, I would say I pick a size that it's not particularly oversized. Obviously you could, you know, size up if you wanted like a little bit more of a, you know, oversized look, but that's not really how it's designed. It's supposed to be, you know, a reasonably close fitting but still a sweatshirt style is what I would call it. So in terms of sizing, like I say, this is a very old pattern, and you know, please feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't necessarily feel like Grainline Studio is actually like putting anything out anymore. Like, I don't feel like they release new patterns, or if they do, I haven't seen any. So I feel like maybe they're sort of, I guess, kind of dormant in a pattern company sense, with respect to particularly like, you know, adding new sizes and stuff like that. So I don't know whether they have just, you know, yeah, I don't really know what's going on with them. So if anyone knows, like, please do let me know. But yeah, this is not particularly size inclusive, unfortunately. So it currently is in a size 0 to 18, and in terms of bust measurements, the size 0 is a 32-inch bust and the size 18 is a 44-inch bust. So yeah, not a very good range, but yeah, I don't know whether that's because, yeah, they just aren't doing anything to any of their patterns. They're just out in the world and that's that. Yeah, I don't really know. So yeah, unfortunately not great in terms of being inclusive. So that is the Linden. So my other sweatshirt pattern that I have in this is the Megan Nielsen Jarrah sweatshirt. So this has a number of versions. So there's just a typical like version with like a hemband cuff style. It's drop shoulder, but then you've got some other variations for like the hem. So there's like a curved hem, there's a split hem, there's a normal neckline, there's a funnel neck, which I haven't made, but I was looking at the picture when I was you know, getting the information for this, and I was like, oh, I actually wouldn't mind you know, a nice cozy one. So, and I do have the pink, it's up there. I have the pink knit fabric that I was going to make a cardigan out of, and now having sewn with that fabric for my cream table, I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm wondering if it would be okay for the Jarrah. So that might be, yeah, I might make the funnel neck one at some point soon, but I haven't made it previously. So this is my one that's just the basic one, so you can see there it's drop shoulder. Again, this is French terry. This is some of Lamazi's own designed French terry, and you can see at the bottom there's just, yeah, a hemband. I've obviously done it in the main fabric, but you could do it in ribbing. The only ribbing I've got on this one is the neckband, and that's just because I didn't quite, this was a remnant piece and I didn't quite have enough, but I've done everything else in it. I really love drop sleeve shoulder style. Like, I've got quite a few hand knitted jumpers that are also like that. I know some people find that depending on your bust, maybe they're not so keen on how it looks, but I really love it. So that's one of the reasons why this has become a favourite sweatshirt pattern to make. So yeah, this is my standard one. I do have more than I'm showing you, but I just picked out a couple. I didn't mention it when I was talking. And this is the tie waist. So it's really hard to show you when it's just like not being worn, and because I had to like tie it up when it was on the hanger. But you can see here it's got yeah, this little tie knot area. That's really hard to show you. You essentially have like a little cutout with these two like extended pieces, so the pattern piece looks quite fun when you see it. But yeah, again, drop shoulder, and I've done everything, all of this. This is a French terry. It's got a kind of a brush back actually, this one. But yeah, it's got the tie waist, which the only thing about it, which I think you could probably change by maybe drafting a facing, is that, you know, you can like see, because obviously how the knot ties, that you can see kind of the inside, which, you know, you might not necessarily like, but I think you could probably draft a facing to cover that if you wanted to, but I haven't for this one. In terms of like length, I would say this is standard to maybe on like the shorter side, like maybe slightly cropped. I find it's okay for me. Like, I wear this with jeans and, you know, I don't feel like I'm being exposed, so it's just right for me. Again, I think if you were on the taller side, then probably you might want to lengthen it, but yeah, I really love the Jarrah, and I would definitely make more. Like I say, I'm definitely now, having remembered that there is a funnel necked option, I definitely think that's probably next on my list to make up. Okay, in terms of sizing, so there's two different size bands for this in terms of like two different blocks. So it comes in a 0 to 20, which is a 32-inch bust to a 46-inch bust, and then from a 14 to 30, which is a 40-inch bust to a 60-inch bust. So yeah, really size inclusive. You know, if you want a sweatshirt, obviously I know the Linden isn't very size inclusive, but this one definitely is, and I would wholeheartedly recommend it. It's, yeah, definitely, I would say it's my favourite sweatshirt pattern. So yes, would absolutely recommend. Again, I probably should think about, yeah, if I want a jumper dress, maybe having a go at lengthening this one, particularly as I know I love the drop shoulder as well. So yeah, that is the Megan Nielsen Jarrah. Whew. Okay, back to t-shirts again. So you'll have heard me on this channel mention many times the ready to sew Jeanne t-shirt. So this is described as like a boyfriend style t-shirt, so it's meant to be that bit more of a loose, relaxed fit rather than form-fitting. There's not too much in the way of options, like there's no additional necklines or anything. It is just a case of long or short sleeves, and it also, they've called it a dress. Yeah. I had forgotten that there was that option because I've just always made the t-shirt. I'm not sure that I would ever make the dress version because, like I say, it is this like loose fit, and I don't particularly like things that are, you know, full length, or, you know, long enough to be a dress at least. that don't really have like much waist definition. Like it is, I don't know, I looked at it and thought that it kind of looks a little bit Nike, but you know, I think if you enjoy a more relaxed sort of t-shirt dress vibe, then that might be something that you like. Personally, I don't feel like that the dress version looks like outerwear, but that is entirely my own opinion, and other opinions are completely valid. So yeah, so this is one that I would definitely say can work in different types of jersey. So I've got this one, which you may have seen as a recent make in some more Danish design cotton jersey that was from the Mazzi. So this is definitely a more structured, so it's, you know, not, like I say, it is not super fitted, but yeah, it's the cotton jersey just gives it that bit more structure. Body length, I would say, is average. Like, again, like I do tuck this in sometimes if I'm wearing jeans. It depends what I'm wearing, depends on the look I'm going for, but I do both. Sometimes I tuck them in, sometimes I leave them untucked. And again, fine for layering under things like pinafores as well. So yeah, so I've got cotton jersey versions that are that bit more structured. The pile on this side is increasing now. But then I've also got ones like this one, which is in a viscose jersey. It's hard to tell on the hanger, but this is definitely a lot more drapey because it is a viscose, and I definitely think that probably if you make it in a viscose, it does have that more boyfriend style fit, you know, like you've borrowed someone else's clothes kind of style. So that one I would definitely say you can mix and match between that, and you'll just get a very slightly different look depending on what you want to go for. But yeah, I've not made a long sleeved version. I'd also forgotten that was an option, because I just have always made this one. In terms of sizing, unfortunately, again, this one is also very not size inclusive. It's the least size inclusive of everything I think I've talked about. It is I've had this pattern for a long time. I don't know, I haven't looked at what their other patterns are doing in terms of have they, have more recent patterns got bigger sizing. So yeah, unfortunately not particularly size inclusive. It goes from a size 32 to 46. The size 32, I had to round up a little bit because I like inches for body measurements, and this was because it's a French pattern company. They tend to focus more on centimeters. So the size 32 is for a 29-inch bust, and the size 46 is for a 41-inch bust. Obviously, it is a relaxed fit, so there's maybe like a tiny bit of wiggle room, but not a lot. So yeah, this is not, unfortunately, again, not a very size inclusive pattern, which is a shame because I love it as a standard fit t-shirt with no bells and whistles or anything. It's just a standard set in sleeve t-shirt, but yeah, I fully appreciate that it is not size inclusive, which is obviously a shame. And if anyone knows whether this pattern company, if that's the case for everything, or if it's just the older patterns that are like this, I don't know. I know there's quite a bit of variation amongst pattern companies as to whether they go back and redo their older patterns, or whether they only increase size ranges on newer ones. But that is the Jeanne t-shirt. I've thrown this extra one in just because I only have one of them at the moment, but I just wanted to throw in something that was a bit different. So this is the bowline sweater, which is from Paper Cut Patterns, and it's jumping off of the hanger. So this I've made in, I want to say this is like a bamboo like, or viscose jersey. Like you can see it's very, very drapey, and probably it's probably better that I put this on and take a photo, because it looks weird. But it's got this really fun like drapey strip essentially, that gives this really interesting neckline. So it is a raglan, so you can see you've got the raglan seam there for the sleeve. But yeah, it's just got this really fun drapey bit at the front, and I think, you know, in terms of things that I've sewed, this pattern would win in terms of the weirdest pattern piece I've ever seen in terms of what it looks like. Like it's got it is very unusual looking, so that it is an interesting, I think that's why I wanted to include it, because it's, you know, a step up in terms of like a bit more challenging to figure out the sewing that. But yeah, it doesn't look that much on the hang. You're like, Nicole, what are you talking about? This looks weird. But I will put a photo in to share this with you. Now, also, when I went to look for the sizing information for this, this pattern isn't on the Paper Cut Patterns website anymore. So I don't know why that is. I don't know whether they are maybe updating it or whether they have retired some of their patterns. So it's not a very broad size range. So yeah, I don't know whether that's why it's not there anymore. It definitely again is an older pattern, so maybe they've just retired some, because when I had a quick browse I could definitely see that they had not all of their patterns, but some of them in a curve. I'm trying to think of what they call it. I think they called it a curve range, so they had some expanded sizing for some patterns. But yeah, this isn't actually on the Paper Cut website. I did see a couple of places, just googling it, that seem to be selling it, so maybe people have got like old paper copies still kicking about in some shops. But yeah, this only goes to between a 32.25 to a 44-inch bust. It is very drapey, so you know it's not super form-fitting. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on with it. But yeah, I'll try and put a fit picture in so that you can see, because I think, yeah, this is something that you only really get the full effect when it's being worn. But I just want to throw it in as something with a little bit of a different feature for this, because this is the only one I have at the moment, but I have made other ones and they've just you know, been worn so much that they have had to be retired. But yeah, that is the bowline, and yeah, that is definitely one that you need a drapey fabric for. Like you couldn't sew it in a cotton jersey, you wouldn't get that effect of the draped twist part. Oh, okay. And my final favourite jersey pattern is the Sew House 7 table v-neck. So this comes with a whole bunch of different neckband options. So there's like a thinner neckband and a wider one. There's an overlapping version, so it's a v-neck, obviously that's in the name. There's also a really wide one for like making a more sweater style version. You can have no sleeves, short sleeves, which is what I tend to make, and also long sleeves. And there's also a couple of different hem options. So there's like a normal curved hem, there's also a split hem. But yeah, this is the style that I tend to make. So you can see it's got this overlapped fairly wide neckband, that's about an inch wide neckband, and yeah, these like sleeve cuffs, which technically you're supposed to wear like rolled up, but I often don't do that. And yeah, this is again, if you're looking for something that's more of a like oversized slouchy fit, this definitely fits the bill. I've made it in this viscose jersey. I tend to make it in viscose jersey. I think I've only made it in viscose jersey because I think, yeah, because it's oversized, you just want that drape. So yeah, viscose, bamboo, tencel, you know, those kind of jerseys are definitely what will work best for this. And yeah, you can see, oh, can I hold it up high enough? The curved hem, which is yeah, a bit longer at the back than it is at the front. But yeah, I have made the sweater version, which I talked about on a Friday Sews. I've also made the long sleeved like split hem version as well, but this is definitely my favourite, and I really like. I've had a lot of success. Like, I'm really happy with, for instance, how this neckband looks. I feel like V-necks are a bit tricky, so yeah, it's good if you want a pattern that's going to help you get a good result for a V-neck. I would definitely recommend this one, and yeah, I like it as an oversized option for if I want, you know, something that's not fitted. So not really something that I would wear like this, like layered. This is more to be like worn on its own. So I wear, you know, this on its own in summer. Obviously in the winter you can, you know, throw on like a chunky cardigan and you'll still be able to get it on. You know, the sleeves are still fitted, so, you know, a chunky cardigan, you know, you would still be able to put on over the top of this and wear it even though it's a shorter sleeve. But yeah, let's look at the sizes. So this one comes in a size 00 to 20. So the 00 is a 31-inch bust and the 20 is a 47-inch bust. So it's not great. It's kind of, it could be better. Again, I haven't looked at Sew House 7 in terms of what their sizing looks across some of their other patterns to know whether that's typical of them. I feel like, yeah, this pattern has been around a little while, but yeah, it's not as inclusive as it could be by any stretch of the imagination. Like I say, it is an oversized fit, so if you were, you know, only needing a little bit of extra, and you were at the top of that size bracket, you could maybe be okay if you didn't mind it being a little more fitted. But yeah, yeah, it could be better in terms of the size range. But yeah, that is the Sew House 7 table V-neck. And now I've got a giant pile of stuff to put back in my wardrobe. Alright, that's all I have to share with you. I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of the, I mean, this isn't even, you know, this is about half of the jersey tops in my wardrobe, so yeah, this is by far not all of it. You know, it's definitely something, like I say, I love to sew. I love, yeah, to wear in all seasons, depending on, you know, summer you can just wear t-shirts, good for layering pieces, and yeah, I just really love sewing with jersey. And you know, how many jersey tops is too many, you know, just asking for a friend here, obviously. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed hearing about my jersey makes. If anyone has any more questions about any of the other patterns, please do put them in the comments. If anyone has any of their own, any you know, tried and tested, particularly the ones, you know, you go back to time and time again, like, I'm always interested to hear what other people's like go-to t-shirt or jersey top pattern is, because you know, I've seen some other people with like ones that are different, so yeah, I'm always keen to hear what other people feel like is their go-to t-shirt pattern. So please do let me know in the comments about that as well. Alright, thank you so much everyone for watching. I'm going to head off now. It is gloriously sunny outside, so I'm going to go for a nice Sunday walk and make the most of that whilst I can. Yeah, thank you everyone. If you have enjoyed this video, please do click the like button and consider subscribing so you can be notified when I next put live a video. I'm usually here once a week with a Friday Sews catch up, and then I'm planning to have an additional video each week about a different topic over the coming months. So I hope that you will consider joining me for that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching everyone. Have a lovely day, and I hope you have some time to get in some sewing, maybe a jersey top with some inspiration from this. Alright, thanks everybody, bye.